The dawn over the crystalline towers of the Startled kingdom shimmered with a muted silver glow as Princess Lyra stepped onto the balcony of her chambers. The great capital below bustled with measured calm, ships rising on anti-grav beams, merchants opening sky stalls, and the royal banners drifting in the morning breeze. To her attendants she appeared serene, a perfect figure of composure and noble duty. Only Lyra herself knew how restless her heart had become. For 17 rotations she had searched for someone the court considered a myth. To her, that someone was real, a human boy who had once saved her life when she had been a frightened child lost in the forest moon of Varan. The last known humans had vanished after the collapse wars centuries earlier. Their reappearance anywhere in the galaxy was considered impossible, but she remembered the boy. He had a warm voice, strange bright eyes, and hands that shook from fear, yet acted with courage beyond his size. He carried her away from a rogue predator, shielded her with his own small body, and vanished before the royal guards arrived. No one identified him. Some dismissed the memory as a fantasy created by trauma. Lyra knew better. She had seen truth in him. She had seen that humanity had survived its dark age. Now, on this day, representatives from dozens of species were arriving for the Grand Concord Assembly, a diplomatic event held once every century. Rumors swirled among the envoys of an unknown wanderer traveling through the outer rings with unusual skills. The palace guards had captured fragments of messages referencing a lone outsider helping frontier settlements, healing damaged systems, and appearing where danger surged. Some witnesses called him the Silent Fixer. Others claimed he had no home, no past, and no species known to the Galactic Registry. Lyra suspected the truth, so she prepared. By midday, she stood in the grand hall of the Concord, its vaulted ceiling lined with floating crystals that responded to emotional resonance. Delegates filled the room, each wearing garments of their culture. Some radiated soft energy signatures. Others clicked or hummed or flickered as they conversed. Lyra waited on the raised platform, her regal cloak flowing behind her. Her parents, the king and queen, observed from the throne balcony, watching with cautious pride. When the hall quieted, the herald announced the arrival of the final guest. A figure entered through the tall doorway, walking with a calm, steady stride. He wore plain travel clothing, lightly armored, marked only by faint scuffs of a long voyage. His hair was dark, his expression neutral, and his posture humble yet alert. He looked like someone who expected danger at any moment, but refused to fear it. The delegates murmured. None recognized his species. His features were simple, lacking the ornate markings of the known races. He had no visible energy resonance. He appeared almost too plain for a galaxy filled with luminous beings. Lyra recognized him immediately. She felt her pulse jolt at the sight. The boy from the forest moon was now a grown man, taller, stronger, and with the same steady gaze she had never forgotten. She struggled to keep her breath even. The guards around the hall shifted, uncertain how to classify the newcomer. The herald spoke his name, the name he had provided upon entry. Rian of Nowhere. The delegates exchanged glances. Some whispered that it must be a disguise. Others speculated he might be a hybrid or a lost colony member. Only Lyra knew the truth that hovered on the edge of revelation. Rian bowed to the assembly with simple respect, not too low, not too proud. He carried himself as someone who had learned survival by solitude. For a moment, Lyra could almost see the boy again, brushing leaves from his hair after dragging her up a cliff to safety. The memory pulsed in her mind like a warm light. She stepped forward. "Traveler Rian," she said, her voice resonant throughout the hall. "I welcome you on behalf of the Startled Kingdom. You have journeyed far. It is our honor to receive you." Rian lifted his head. His eyes met hers. A flicker of recognition crossed his face before he masked it with controlled calm. He bowed again, slightly deeper this time. "Princess," he said, "thank you for your hospitality." The hall observed with curiosity. Delegates leaned forward. Some scanned him with discreet devices. No readings matched known classifications. His biological signature was familiar only to Lyra. "Rian," she continued, "you have been traveling the frontier. Records indicate that you aided colonies during ion storms, repaired collapsed structures, and defended settlers against raiders. Many owe you their lives. Yet you remain without nation, home, or species registry. Before this assembly proceeds, we ask a simple question. Who are you?" Rian hesitated. His expression hardened slightly, not in defiance, but in quiet caution. The delegates expected an evasive answer. Few anticipated the truth. Rian inhaled once. "I am human." The hall exploded in noise, shocked cries. Questions, warnings, scanners activating. The king and queen exchanged urgent looks. Even trained guards faltered at the claim. Humans were supposed to be extinct or lost beyond the outer galaxies. The collapse wars had wiped their worlds from the star charts. For centuries, the galaxy believed they had destroyed themselves or vanished into exile. To hear one claim identity openly was unthinkable. Lyra raised a hand for silence. When the hall quieted, she spoke with calm authority. "Please continue." Rian nodded, though tension coiled through his shoulders. "My people scattered during the collapse. Some of us survived. We hid. We adapted. Some remained in deep space, some on forgotten moons, some in ruins that no one charted because no one thought to look. We passed down knowledge in fragments. Languages faded. Histories fractured. But we endured, because that is what we do. We endure." The room fell silent. Lyra felt a swell of emotion rise inside her. She steadied herself with practiced royal discipline. Her words needed to be perfect. Her revelation would shift the assembly in ways no one anticipated. She stepped closer to him, each movement slow and deliberate. "Rian," she said softly, "you once saved a lost child on the forest moon of Varen. You risked your life when no one else was near. You shielded someone you did not know. Do you remember?" Rian's composure wavered. A tremor of recognition passed through him. He nodded slightly. A small girl in royal clothing. "I remember. I thought she was a vision at first. Then she cried. I acted." Lyra let the hall absorb the moment. Delegates exchanged stunned glances. Many knew the story of her childhood rescue, a tale dismissed as imagination or legend. To hear it confirmed by the supposed human before them unsettled even the most skeptical. She drew a steady breath. "That girl was me," she declared. Gasps broke through the hall. The king and queen leaned forward in shock. The guards stiffened. Rian froze as though struck by a force field. His eyes widened and softened at once. "You," he whispered. "Yes," she replied. "You saved my life. No one believed the truth. But I recognized you the moment you entered this hall." Rian's expression shifted between disbelief and reluctant acceptance. He lowered his gaze out of respect. "I only did what anyone should do." "Yet not everyone does," Lyra answered. The hall listened in rapt attention. Lyra felt a new strength awakening in her. Her voice no longer shook. The moment she had waited for over half her life was unfolding before the galaxy. She raised her chin. "This assembly stands on the edge of conflict," she addressed the hall. "Old rivalries stir. Borders harden. Suspicion rises. Yet before us stands proof of humanity's survival. A people who vanished in fire and returned in quiet resilience. Their spirit shaped much of our history. Their stories inspired centuries of exploration and innovation. If they have endured darkness to rise again, then their presence among us is not a threat. It is a reminder of what unity can achieve. The delegates shifted uneasily. Some nodded. Others studied Rian with newfound respect. Lyra continued, I call upon this assembly to recognize humanity as a protected returning species and grant Rian temporary ambassador status until further survivors are found. The hall erupted once more, though this time with fierce debate. Some species argued that humanity's past wars made them dangerous. Others claimed humanity's legacy of adaptation and bravery made them valuable allies. Rian stood still, his jaw tightened, uncertain whether he deserved any of it. Lyra stepped down from the platform and approached him fully. She felt eyes follow every step. Close now, she could see the subtle scars on his hands and the quiet fatigue behind his eyes. A life of solitude had shaped him, a life far from warmth or recognition. He met her gaze with cautious humility. Princess, he murmured, I am not a diplomat. I am not someone worthy of all this. She shook her head. You are worthy because you lived when none expected you to. You are worthy because you saved a stranger without expecting reward. You are worthy because humanity deserves to rise again, and someone must carry that torch. Rian swallowed hard. For the first time, a flicker of vulnerability crossed his face. He looked not like a legendary survivor, but a man who had carried too many burdens alone. The debate continued in the background until the king signaled for silence. He rose from the throne and addressed the hall. We have doubted humanity's return for centuries, he declared. We feared their rebirth or dismissed it as myth. Now one stands before us, not as a conqueror, but as a guardian. If my daughter believes in him, then I ask the assembly to consider carefully. Fear has guided too many decisions. Let truth guide this one. Hours passed as the assembly deliberated. Rian remained,